Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I just briefly want to talk about police shootings again this morning. First thing I want to talk about, the George Floyd case. I don't know, it's in the news that Derek Chauvin, the officer that was kneeling on George Floyd's neck, it's been in the news now that the charge of third-degree homicide has been dropped, but the judge kept the charge of second-degree homicide. Now, I am not an expert on this at all, so I wanted to understand what was going on here. From what I understand, the charge of third-degree homicide pertains to if this person was presented in imminent danger to a group of people, but not one person specifically. And that doesn't sound like the case. And that's why they kept the charge of second degree, which is more serious. But I'd have to guess usually that the more serious charges might be harder to prove. Like I said, I'm not an expert. So the third degree charge of homicide is dropped because it would be if this officer was going to eminently hurt just somebody, but nobody in particular. The second degree charge is when it was focused on one person. And this is the way I understand it. If I'm wrong, let me know. So it seems to make sense that the third degree charge wouldn't apply. Again, though, I'm very suspicious of anything. So. All right, next thing I want to talk about, the death of, it's a hard name to pronounce, Marcellus Stinette, 19-year-old from Waukegan, Illinois. Let me see if I understand this right now. Waukegan, Illinois, it's a city of about 89,000 people. It's about 50% Hispanic, 25% white, and 25% black. I'm just saying that just for reference, just purely for reference, just to get a feel for what we're talking about here. If most of you guys have probably heard this story already. I think it was last weekend. An officer tried to stop a car. The car fled. A few minutes later, another officer came across the same vehicle, went to stop it. The car stopped. The officer got out and approached the car. Now, this is where it gets... See, the problem here is we don't have any video or any body cam or anything like that, any dash cam yet, but they're reviewing them now. Anyway, I'm not going to get ahead of myself here. And the officer claims now I've read this differently I've read about 10 different articles on this. In a few articles, it says that the car rolled backwards towards the officer. In other articles, it says the car reversed backwards. In other articles, it said the car moved in reverse. The general feeling you get is that the car wasn't speeding, it wasn't moving quickly. It wasn't, and I'm guessing this just by the wording. I don't know. So anyway, the officer then opens fire on the car, killing the passenger, Marcellus Stinette, a black man, 19-year-old black man. Killing him and wounding his girlfriend, the driver, who is a mother of two. There were no weapons found in the car, no other charges filed, from what I can understand yet. Now, the reason I didn't talk about, I mentioned this case before in another video, and like I said, it's something about it stuck out, of course. Just a cop just firing into the back of the car. Now, it's hard to put yourself in the position of this cop. Now, okay, so what's changed is this cop has now been fired, which, like I said, I'm no legal expert, but that's a big step. When you have police unions and all this, to fire this cop, it said that he was in dereliction of duty, or he went against department regulations, failure to follow company department regulations and protocol. What exactly those protocols are, I'm not sure. Firing into the back of a car, randomly killing somebody inside. It's hard to put yourself in the position of this police officer, but then again, I don't know a lot about police procedure, but I can imagine that whenever I see police approaching the back of a car, they never walk directly behind it, of course. That wouldn't be the smart thing. This is one thing I've noticed. They always put their hand on the trunk of the car when they're walking up to the driver's side window. Could somebody out there please tell me why they do this? Because I don't know. You see this all the time in real life, in the news, whatever. They put their hand like they're feeling for something on the trunk, and I for the life of me, I don't know what it is. So, hey, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. I'm just telling you guys what I know, and I figure most people are like me. You want to know what's going on. The reason I talk about this case now, the reason I'm not a police officer is because I know that I don't have what it takes to be a cop. I don't have the objectivity. I don't like to say this, but I think I would be prone to emotional, if I had to chase a car and it endangered a bunch of other people, and then I finally caught up to the car, I'd be afraid of how I would treat that person once I caught him. I think my adrenaline, my emotions, I don't think I'm in control of my emotions enough to be a cop. I know that about myself. Now, you've got to wonder if there's other people out there that had suspicions about themselves, that they had prejudices, that they knew that they were prone to losing control of their anger, outbursts, and they became police anyway, maybe because their whole family became cops or something. This cop has been on the force for 5 years. And he, like I said, now he's fired. So he obviously did something very, very wrong here. We're going to find out in the future what it was. The point of this video I'm making, though, is the need for a national database. It's getting pretty clear. Once the video and the information comes out, I think it'll probably become pretty clear. This guy probably wasn't cut out for police work. And I don't mean that to say, I'm not trying to sound off the cuff, like flip it there. But he was not cut out I don't think he was cut out for police work. I would imagine that police, this is one of the things that they're trained on. When they're approaching the back of a car, they tell the occupants to stay in the car. The car isn't shut off yet. I'm sure they cover this so that they don't get run over. So obviously this officer did not listen to his training. So this is the need for a nationwide database. So this officer, and I don't know a lot about this case already. It appears, that he killed a 19-year-old man when he didn't have to. That's what it appears like. I'm wondering, when the car took off from the first stop, did they know it was a black couple driving? Just curious. I just want to know. Turns out now, this is another interesting thing. A lot of the articles say the officer was white. A lot of the articles say that the officer was Hispanic. It would make sense that he's Hispanic because 50% of that 89,000 people are Hispanic. So it makes sense that it's probably, the chances are it would be a Hispanic officer if he was from Waukegan. Just saying. These are things that we have yet to find out. So not to make any judgments, but there's a family out there with a dead 19-year-old son, a dead 19-year-old brother that didn't have to be, that have lost their family member. And that's wrong. And Trump keeps talking about how there's no systematic racism and how he defends the police and all this. And we need reform in this country, because when an overwhelming amount of the police shootings are black men, the country isn't even. When you say freedom and justice and pursuit of happiness for everybody, justice, freedom, the pursuit of happiness for everybody, obviously this doesn't include black men when they have to fear for their lives from police. So something's wrong with America and it needs to be fixed. It's that simple. All right, I'll be back with another video. You guys have a good Sunday.